All right, so this is another weird one, okay, which just got weirder about an hour before we went on air. So, Virginia Giuffre, is it Guffrey or Giuffre?
I
Virginia
think it's
Giuffre,
Giuffre.
I think it's Giuffre. Virginia Giuffre says she has 4 days to live. So this was everywhere last night. This write up is in The Cut. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, one of the most outspoken survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and his co conspirators, claims she has 4 days left to live. In an Instagram post from Sunday, Giuffre wrote that she was involved in a car accident with a speeding school bus that allegedly resulted in kidney failure. Now, I've watched a couple other YouTubers cover this, and they insist that they shouldn't show the wounds on her face for some risk of age restriction. It seems kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous to me because the wounds aren't even that graphic. There's not really blood;
No.
it's just some bruises.
Mm-mm.
But whatever. I followed their lead just for safety's sake. Figure they know better than me. So she posts on Instagram, "This year has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details. But I think it important to note that when a school bus driver comes at you driving 110 kilometers an hour, she means, as we were slowing for a turn, that no matter what your car is made of, it may as well be a tin can. I've gone into kidney renal failure. They've given me 4 days to live, transferring me to a specialist hospital in urology. I'm ready to go, just not until I see my babies one last time. But you know what they say about wishes? Shit in one hand and wish in the other, and I guarantee it's still going to be shit at the end of the day. Thank you all for being the wonderful people of the world and for being a great part of my life. God bless you all." So she says, "Thank you all for being the wonderful people of the world. Thank you all." It's going to important to remember that a little bit. Giuffre has been battling Epstein and his network, which she says trafficked her beginning when she was 16 in court for years. She first came forward about her experience in the Daily Mail back in 2011, alleging she had been recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell in 2000 while working at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Interesting. That detail I had not heard before, and spent the next few years being abused by Epstein and others while caught up in his sex trafficking circle. 2 years earlier, she had settled a $500,000 sexual abuse lawsuit against Epstein, which was unsealed in 2022. She also sued Maxwell, who was serving a 20-year sentence after being convicted of child sex trafficking, for defamation and settled in 2017. In 2021, Giuffre filed a civil claim against Prince Andrew, a former friend of Epstein's, who she says assaulted her, she'll say, while she was being trafficked by Epstein and his associates. Andrew has denied the allegations, but he too settled his case with Giuffre in 2022. The financial terms have not been made public, but tabloids and legal experts have estimated it was somewhere around $13 million. Yeah, that's a whole lot of denial right there. $13 million worth. That's quite the big payment. So this is her Instagram profile, Virginia Roberts. "Pursuit of justice doesn't stop with Epstein. The elites who trafficked me and so many others are going down. The house of cards will begin to fall." That's in her bio. And Nick Sorter tweets out this video from NBC News. This is from years back, talking about her run-in with Prince Andrew.
I was so young. Keelan woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, "Okay." And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Giuffre, and Ghislaine said he's coming back to the house, and I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved.
Pretty scary stuff. Here she is, very vocal about being trafficked as a young teen out of Mar-a-Lago. Out of Mar-a-Lago.
I mean, if she was very young, if she knew more about the history of these criminal aristocrats, she would have been surprised if they weren't involved.
Well, yeah, especially the royal family. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, 100%. But as is the point of these stories, very, very young. So why would she know at the time? The Epstein files were never released, and now the only outspoken survivor is dying, or so has been reported thus far. So here she is talking about having been recruited out of Mar-a-Lago.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day, and I won't stop fighting. I will never be silenced until these people are brought to justice. So,
one more time.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago. So, we're going to do more about this on Sunday because we switched to Rumble anyway, so we'll go into more detail about this. But I don't know what it is. Is it because a lot of people who are into the, conspiracy theory, rabbit hole stories tend to be more MAGA aligned? So maybe this just never really caught on in the way that it would have had Donald Trump been a Democrat running for office as a Democrat. But sure seems like he's tied to Epstein more than like the general public really knows. I did not know that she had been recruited into his sex trafficking ring from Mar-a-Lago, as she says there. Did you know that until this? I didn't know that detail.
I'm pretty sure I did. I did.
Yeah.
Like at the time when her story was really blowing up, I think there was a fair amount of reporting on that.
I mean, I knew they were friends, obviously, Trump and Epstein. They've been on camera together. He's talked about how he knew Epstein. That detail was not on my radar, but that is pretty strange stuff. What makes things even stranger, though, is this write-up in People magazine, and this is from Australian news that's now been picked up by multiple outlets. Police detail minor crash with no reported injuries in crash reportedly involving Jeffrey Epstein's accuser, Virginia Giuffre. So the first anybody had heard about this was from her Instagram post. That was from Sunday. It's now Tuesday. We didn't know of any police report of the accident. There was no video of the accident. There was no description of the bus driver. Was the bus driver hurt in the crash, not hurt in the crash? We heard no details about this except for a post on her Instagram. So now, when we find out more information, we hear the police describe this as a minor crash with no reported injuries. After Virginia Giuffre, who previously accused late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew of sexual abuse, claims she has 4 days to live following an incident in Australia, officials have confirmed a minor crash between a bus and a car. Though Australian officials released details on the aforementioned auto accident to People when asked about Giuffre's claims, it was not confirmed if the incident was connected to Giuffre, 41. There were no serious injuries and nobody was taken to hospital, according to authorities. The Western Australia police said the collision happened in Neargabby. Is that how you say that? My resident Aussie adjacent fellow.
I mean, those people are crazy. Probably.
All right. Neargabby, 12 miles north of Perth, shortly after 3 p.m. local time on March 24th, and there were, quote, no reported injuries in the crash in a statement to People. The collision was reported by the bus driver the following day. What? The following day? So it wasn't reported at all the day of? The car sustained approximately $2,000 worth of damage. Police
this is
said
very weird.
In a statement.
Very weird story.
It's very weird, and it gets even weirder. Acting Police Commissioner Kylie Whiteley confirmed during a press conference on Tuesday, April 1st, that the incident involved a 71-year-old woman at the wheel of the car and a 41-year-old woman, which is Giuffre's age, in the passenger seat, news.com.au, Australia, reported. On Saturday, March 30th, Giuffre posted on Instagram of herself covered in bruises in the hospital. She said she was hit by a school bus driver, and the doctor told her she had, quote, 4 days to live after going into renal failure. Giuffre's father, Sky Roberts, told the UK news outlet The Telegraph in an update, she's not doing good. She's depressed because she misses her kids. She's got 4 days unless she gets another opinion from another doctor. He is estranged from his daughter and has not seen her since the crash, according to news.com.au. In an Instagram post shared on March 22nd, which would have been, I guess, 2 days prior to the crash, Giuffre spoke about how she misses her children very much and that they had been poisoned with lies, suggesting a possible separation from Robert, who was her children's father. Giuffre's spokesperson, Dinny Von Muffing, said in a statement to BBC following her Instagram post on Sunday, Virginia has been in a serious accident and is receiving medical care in the hospital. She greatly appreciates the support and well wishes people are sending. So there's a lot strange about this so far.
What the fuck?
A lot. Very weird. Very weird. That
Very
the
strange.
accident was not reported until the next day, that the police are saying there were only minor injuries reported, or no serious injuries reported in a minor crash. And now you add to this, which just broke, like I said, an hour before we went on the air, Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre offers new details after claiming she had just days to live after bus crash. So this just came out before we went on the air. I put this slideshow together during the countdown. Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Roberts Giuffre has offered more details about the horrific bus crash that she claims left her with just 4 days left to live. A statement from Giuffre's spokesperson seemed to dispute the sex trafficking victim's assertion that she was near death, saying that the mother of 3 was in serious condition at an Australian hospital. After police said there were no reported injuries in the crash between Giuffre's car and the bus, a spokesperson for Epstein's most prominent victim has insisted she was forced to go to the hospital after her condition worsened several days later. So according to this person, she did not go from the crash site to the hospital. You would think if a bus runs into your car, you're
Right.
going to go get checked out at the hospital.
Right. And
I
if
mean,
you had that kind of kidney damage, how would you not?
how would you not know?
How would you even
until,
like be okay for a few days like that?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Virginia was banged up and bruised and returned home, a spokesperson for Giuffre told the Post. Virginia's condition worsened and she was admitted to hospital. Now, this is where it gets too crazy. Concerning her Instagram post, Virginia thought that she had posted on her private Facebook page.
What difference does that even make, though?
The statement went on, today she remains in serious condition while receiving medical care. Well, what difference would it make? And also,
Yeah.
how could you accidentally post to your public Instagram account
Right.
when you are this public figure for reasons that everybody is going to be suspicious when a thing like this happens in the first place? And if you look here, being wonderful people of the world and for being a great part of my life, God bless you all. I don't know. That sounds like it's addressed to everybody. I don't buy that she meant to post that as part of a private Facebook post. I don't buy that you would accidentally, post this out to the world, given the fact
so
that...
why? Like, what's the point?
Like what the hell?
Why would she do that?
Somebody needs to figure out what the hell is going on, as Donald Trump would say. What the hell is going on? Because my first thoughts about this were like, look, and obviously you always have to be careful how you talk about this stuff. We can't make any accusations. There's no accusation to make at this point. There's no person we could accuse of doing anything. But, we were supposed to get these Epstein files. They were delayed. They're supposed to come out any day now, but we have not seen any follow-up to this. And now you have the most high-profile Epstein accuser who has received a lot of money in payouts from both Epstein and Prince Andrew, getting run down by a school bus. Now, school buses are, famously, just about as safe a vehicle as you can drive. They're built like tanks for obvious reasons. They're often carrying 50 children at a time. Very few of them wear seatbelts. And so, school buses, like I said, are very, very strong vehicles, which means if you were going to have a death-proof situation where you're going to run into somebody and try to injure them while sustaining minimal injuries to yourself, yeah, a school bus is what you would use. I don't know in what other context a school bus will be driving 70 miles an hour down what sounds like a residential road, because if she was slowing down for a turn, that means they weren't on like a highway type situation. It means that they were obviously just driving in a residential area. So the way the crash is described, she got rear-ended. Maybe the guy took his eye off what was going on, and she slowed down to make the turn, and he maintained normal speed and hit her.
Maybe she doesn't
68
know how to drive on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 68 miles an hour is very fast for a school bus to be driving down a residential road. Like, it stinks, man. Like, we can't accuse anybody of anything. We don't know enough. We don't know who we would be leveling the accusation against. But it's a very, very bizarre story. And the fact that the first we heard of it was her Instagram post, and then we find out that the accident wasn't even reported the day it happened, that it was called in the day after. No, man, I'm sorry. Like, it stinks. It stinks. And it's a very, very bizarre story. And now the cleaning up of, well, we're not saying she has 4 days left to live. It almost sounds like she's in the hospital for some other reason.
Right.
That's what it sounds like to me. Again, we don't know. The post suggests maybe 2 days prior that she was on the outs with the father of her children. I don't know if they're married or what, but that could be. I mean, there's a million things you could speculate, but it's such a bizarre story. And look, man, the weirdness of this compounded by the fact that this is the highest profile victim of a guy who turned up dead in his jail cell before he could sing. And so it's an extremely, extremely strange story unfolding now. Obviously, we hope she's okay. At first, it looked very grim. Now they're saying perhaps she doesn't have 4 days to live. Really weird stuff. Really eerie.
Yeah. Well, first of all, why would you whack her now? Like, she said everything she has to say.
And she's been paid.
She named all the names she needed to name, and she's been paid. These people at Dershowitz and all of these others are going to go on deny it. I think she's the one who named Bill Richardson, and there were other. There are a lot of names that got named that haven't really been very.
And some of them were named by Jane Doe's. They weren't all named by people who've come forward.
They weren't right, but it's all out there now. Like, why would you try to whack her now? And on the other side, like, what's the point of making something like that up? I mean, it's like predicting. It's like when you're a cult leader and you predict the end of the world. That always backfires, because when it doesn't end, it makes you look bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be dead in 4 days. So if you're making it up, what do you think's going to happen in 4 days when you're not dead?
Yeah, either you're making it up or you're making up how you got there. Are you in the hospital for some other reason? Was there something else that happened that wasn't this bus crash? Or were you in the accident and then something else happened and now you're going there because you're saying it's in the aftermath of a bus crash? I mean, the details seem to match up. I mean, the police report said it was a 41-year-old in the car. She's 41 years old. The location matches up, but the story just seems so strange. If you were in an accident, if a fucking bus runs you off the road and rear ends your car, of course you go get checked out at the hospital the day of. And of course there's a police report. How could there not be? If there's not, who was driving the bus? I mean, it's a school bus, right? So the guy who's driving the bus, whoever's driving the bus is answering to an organization that's going to require that you call it in and file a report. You're saying no authority learned about this accident until the day after, and now 2 days after that she's showing up in kidney failure? It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. I mean, talk about more questions than answered, but this whole story is just so eerie. It's so creepy. And this is why people think about things like this. It's not so much conspiracy theory as it is just speculation. I started Whitney Webb's book. I mean, this is a very, very dangerous world that she dipped her toe into. And now, there are these pending releases of files. She seems to have said everything she has to say. Who knows? Who knows if this is going to deter other people from coming forward in and around these files releases. Again, you just don't know. We can't make any accusations or any real predictions. But this story it keeps getting stranger. It was strange as soon as I heard it. A school bus driving 70 miles an hour down a residential street is very strange. That's very strange in and of itself. Rear-ending someone,
maybe not in Australia. These are people who swim with great whites.
Well, that's true. That's true. This is crocodile hunter territory. Now you know that better than me. But that detail in and of itself is very weird. It's also very weird.
They're the most physically fearless people I've ever met.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, they have that reputation. for sure. But then, I mean, maybe that, I mean, not going to the hospital after that happens, not getting checked out after
Well,
that
she's
happens.
not Australian.
Very strange. Yeah, she's not Australian. Why wouldn't she go to the hospital? Yeah. No, that is very weird. So we will maybe have more to say. I mean, hopefully we don't have more to say about it. Hopefully she recovers and she's out of the hospital. That's just a very, very strange thing to post, that you have 4 days to live and now your team is, I guess, walking that back with really no answers about the accident itself. Very, very bizarre.
Please clap.